I'm Michelle with AccuQuilt, and today I want to tell you how you can adapt any non-AccuQuilt pattern like I did here for the Stars and Strips quilt that I made for my granddaughter Lily, who we thought was going to be a boy, and we got one of the best surprises of our life, and now she's a girl. So hence the boy colors. I just haven't made her a girly girl quilt yet, but that's to come. So, and I'm going to tell you how I did this. So as I was going through my pattern, I noticed that I needed a lot of 2.5 inch squares and 2.5 inch strips and 3.5 inch squares and 3.5 inch squares. So I am so excited to tell you about this. This is our Cutting Equivalent Chart. It is brand new and it's going to be such a big help to all of us. So what I did was, we have different categories: circles, diamonds, rectangles, squares, all sorts of things. So I just turned the page and I found my squares. So as I'm going down, then I can see that my finished size square is 2 inches, and then my, of course, hand cut is 2.5. So I just went on over here to this column and realized that I could either use my value die that came with my Go for my 2.5 inch squares, or I could use my 2.5 inch strip cutter and just turn it 90 degrees and subcut those into little squares, which is what I done with these little guys here. So, and then also with my 3.5 inch squares, as I looked over, I realized that we do have a 3.5 inch die, and that cuts the squares, and or I could just use my strip cutter again, my 3.5 inch. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So I have my fabric all ready to go here, so I'm going to roll it through the cutter. It's nice to have options, isn't it? You can either use your square die or you can use your strip cutter, whichever works best for you. Take that off there. So then I have my strips here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to subcut this, and I want to make sure I get it nice and straight, or else I won't have nice straight squares. Okay, and of course I want to utilize every little part of my fabric that I can. So I'll go ahead and put that on here and roll it through the cutter again. This is such a snap, you guys. I just love my Go cutter. Okay, so there we go. Oh, and I think these are the best ones I've made yet. So here are my 3.5 inch squares. Now my pattern does say that I need some 3.5 by 4.5 inch little baby rectangles. So I did need to use my rotary cutter for that. So, you know, it is still a good handy tool, just not as good as my Go. So here we go with these. So as I assembled my little Stars and Strips quilt, I of course put my 2.5 inch blocks together, and then I took my 3.5 by 4.5. And what you do with those, because I'm not real good at stars and points, you guys, so I just took this, and what I did was I took a line and I sewed straight across, and then I cut off my 1/4 inch seam, and then I just had my little square like that. It was the easiest thing. So, and then I just put my border together, and voila, I have Lily's Stars and Strips quilt, and which she loves. So go to our website, www.accuquilt.com, and look for that Cutting Equivalence Chart, because it's going to be such a big help to you. And also you can call us at 888-258-7913. Happy quilting!